So, Pokemon. It's probably a thing you've heard of. Currently, it has the most representatives as fighters in Smash if we count the Pokemon Trainer as 3. And that's not even getting into the sheer amount that appears Pokeballs, Stage Hazards, and Spirits. There's a lot of Omons, is all I'm saying. After all, that's kind of the point of the series. Tons and tons of different creatures over the generations. Which brings me to my point. Despite having so many fighters, it's painfully close to covering all the generations, but it's just shy. Currently, we're missing Gens 3 and 5, as well as technically 8, but I'm writing and recording this when those games aren't out yet, and they've only shown like 5 Pokemon, and I don't think any of them would be joining the roster anytime soon, at least not in their current forms. Oh my kid, Alcremie moveset, we gotta do it! So we'll simply ignore Generation 8 for now.
No, if this video does come out after Sword and Shield, just pretend a magic wizard that you were sent back in time a week or something, that this YouTuber you're watching isn't a goddamn smooth brain.
This video will cover 3 potential characters that can fill those remaining holes, along with a couple others extras. Notably, however, we'll be using more low-effort characters, as 2 will be Isabelle-esque semi-clones, while 1 is a straight-up Echo Fighter. I did this because I feel any additional Pokemon would probably be lower-effort characters to sort of round out all the gaps, while a more proper and fully developed Generation 8 Pokemon fills the role that it's kind of destined to. Our choices being Zoroark echoing Lucario, and Sceptile and Grovyle as potential semi-clones of Greninja. We'll start with Zoroark. Echoing Lucario has always kind of been his shtick since he's first created. He was the pseudo-mascot of his generation, got his own movie based on him, and has a similar appeal that leads to plenty of comparisons. So it stands to reason that they could effectively copy off of each other. We would assume that he would be animated differently, similar to Dark Samus, replacing the more precise and kung fu-inspired attacks with the more frenzied and ravenous attacks. Import over some claw-slash effects from Wolf, and you've got yourself an Echo Fighter. Now, there would be some potential issues. For one, Zoroark is like twice as tall as Lucario, but considering Lucario in Smash is already missized and, well, you know, they could make it work, as they line up proportionally rather well. Plus, I feel Lucario is the perfect candidate to get an Echo Fighter, as it would be the perfect opportunity to normalize his aura ability. The whole stronger the more damage you take is a bit of a controversial aspect for the character, and while personally I love it because Max Aura Lucario is just some plain old goofy nonsense, I can understand it being a bit frustrating. But our boy here could use the medium aura at all times, making him a much more consistent character, but less dominant in certain circumstances. I suppose the only move that wouldn't entirely work would be Aura Sphere, though Zoroark does learn Shadow Ball, so maybe his could take from Mewtwo instead. Moving on to our more unique fighter, we've got 2 reps from Gen 3, or rather 1 line split into 2 fighters for some reason. Sceptile and Grovyle are both surprisingly popular choices overall, and let me make something clear here. I started playing Pokemon in the 3rd generation, and my starter of choice was, you guessed it, this little dude. So naturally I'm a bit biased towards this line, though to my surprise, Sceptile has been one of, if not the most popular Pokemon for Smash for a while now. Possibly due to Grass-type starters not really getting much justice in Smash, and Sceptile has consistently been the most popular Grass-type, often beating out any individual member of the Bulbasaur line. I honestly believe he was added to Pokken as a result of his push for Smash. But why Grovyle? Well, we'll get into that. Back to Sceptile, however, he will again be a bit less of a new character, but this time he takes more from Greninja. Though, let's pause and establish something real quick. The reason Sakurai stated that Isabelle isn't an Echo Fighter is that she doesn't have the same animation rig as Villager, and thus they had to reanimate every move, even if it's just tweaks, so she counts. Our hypothetical Sceptile will work in the same way, using the basic hit data and tweaked animations, as you can still reuse animations with different rigs. His moveset in Pokken is very clearly ninja-inspired, so we can use that as a basis for how he will ape these moves. For one, all smash attacks, as well as forward air, can easily be reused as Leaf Blade. Jabs and tilts can follow the same hit data with some tweaked animations, with up tilt being the main issue. I propose that up tilt and up air can be taken somewhat from Ivysaur, at least in how they work, being large bursts of spore on their back. Mega Sceptile does utilize these to fire its tail. Side note, those things are always like the weirdest part of Sceptile's design. Like, just put some balls on his back. Yeah, sure, that works. His specials are where we can make things interesting. Again, we'll take a look to Pokken Tournament to get some ideas. In this game, he functions more as a character that specializes in setting traps and forcing your opponent to deal with them. This playstyle isn't heavily represented in Smash and could be cool. For Neutral B, we'll use Bullet Seed, just like how he does in Pokken. He jumps and fires seeds into the ground that plant and grow upwards. This would be extremely useful in covering stuff like get-up options and keeping him in advantage. It could also serve as an area of denial and an unorthodox projectile. Side B, a combination of Giga Drain and whatever the heck his side attack is in Field Phase. He plants a patch of vines on the ground a certain distance away from him. You can hold the stick in various directions to make it go further or closer. And the players caught in it will be grabbed, have their health drained, and launched upwards. Of course, this will wilt over time, but it does stay there for a bit. I feel it should actually stay there for a little bit, since in Smash there's infinitely more movement than in Pokken, and thus a very specific ground-only attack would need a little help. Additionally, it will serve well as another trap move to play around. Up B, this will very likely be another Vine Whip attack, similar to Ivysaur. He uses it in Pokken, and it could function in a very similar way. Wait, can he even learn Vine Whip? How's he do that? Of course, this means his recovery is a bit mediocre, and that makes sense, as he's more of a glass cannon that has lots of ways to stay in advantage, giving him this kind of weakness makes sense. Down B, a counter, but with a twist. He has a true counter in Pokken, but it works a bit differently than any I've seen in Smash. For one thing, even if you guess wrong, you can continue to hold the button and it will let you swing from a vine out of harm's way. So it can even be used as recovery, albeit in a predictable fashion. And if you guess right, rather than just doing damage, he leaves behind a ninja log thing that explodes and deals damage, and on the fact that he still swings and can potentially follow up with some form of combo. This would be the most dynamic counter in the game, and it fits a character whose main goal is to be tricky. For his final smash, he would Mega Evolve and fire his tail similar to how Snake does it, or it could just be a cool animated cutscene. There's a clip from the anime that just oozes cool factors. They could take some influence from that. Now for Grovyle. This is basically an alternative form of Sceptile, taking most of the same moves from Greninja, though with a more logical up-tilt. However, this specific Grovyle that we'll be using is the one from Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Time, Darkness, and Sky. This specific Grovyle may be the most in-depth character in the entire series. Yeah, it's kinda weird. I'm not going to spoilers, but the second Mystery Dungeon game has some really good writing and some of the most thematic depth of the series has ever seen. Like, I honestly didn't expect to be emotionally shaken by the story of Igglybuff and Armaldo. Like, Armaldo, are you for real? How could you do this to me? The legacy of this specific game is very strong, and among Pokemon's spin-offs, it remains the most popular, and there's not a better character to represent it than Grovyle. Why did they pick Grovyle anyway? They really couldn't just go with Sceptile? It would make my job a lot easier.
Grovyle's moves could be fairly simple. We'll just take a few basic ideas from Mystery Dungeon, possibly take some general moveset data from other characters. Neutral B could again be Bullet Seed, but this time be based on Mystery Dungeon's version, which is absurdly powerful, especially considering its main game counterpart. Side B could potentially be similar to Sheik's Needles, but utilizing the throwing daggers, or thorns, or whatever those things were. Recovery could utilize the Warp Orbs, and Down B could be a sort of Witch Time type effect, utilizing the Time Gears. Alternatively, the final smash could be the Time Gears, and possibly summoning Primal Dialga. There's no real other choice for Grovyle's final smash outside of something from Mystery Dungeon, as Sceptile's hogging the Mega Evolution all to himself.
Adding in some style, his taunts can call down the shiny Celebi that he adventures with, and his victory animations can contain Dusknoir. He could potentially also speak a little like Lucario to show that it is indeed the same one from Mystery Dungeon. I actually really like the idea of Mystery Dungeon being repped in Smash, as it's an underappreciated game that really deserves some more love. Or maybe, a Switch game, I'm just saying. You know what, let's do some more. Lightning Round. Gardevoir, probably the most popular and well-known non-Gen 1 starter or legendary that's not playable, albeit in some very interesting reasons. They could probably take from Zelda, Palutena, and even Robin, as she would primarily use magical projectiles. Maybe even Wii Fit Trainer's Deep Breathing could be used as a basic for Calm Mind. Din's Fire could also be repurposed as Future Sight. Gengar, probably the most popular Pokemon in general, not in Smash. I've seen this guy suggested a lot. He needs his own moveset hard, as nothing like him exists. His moveset in Pokken is super cool and interesting, and I would honestly have a hard time coming up with something better. Lots of tricks and weird hitboxes and teleporting all around. Ghosts can be weird like that. Eevee. Every suggestion of Eevee I've ever seen is either kind of boring or utilizes the evolutions for attacks. I feel like that's been a dream people have had for a while, of an Eevee that changes between all the different forms on the fly. If they ever actually make that more or less canon, I could see it being super cool, and Eevee would be a great choice in that sense. Maybe something from Gen 8? Well, like I said, I haven't seen any of the leaked stuff, so, Corviknight, he's the coolest one anyway. We don't have, like, a bird, so he'd work. I assume he'd do a lot of bird stuff. Probably take influence from the anime. Maybe he's a reverse Little Mac, terrible on the ground and godlike in the air. He could have a reflect similar to his hidden ability. Final Smash could use the Gigantamax shenanigans. Is Jigglypuff in Sword and Shield? That would finally make sense for why Final Smash is like that. What else? Garchomp. Make him do the big diggy chomp move. Decidueye, give him the spot he rightfully goddamn deserves. Rookie. Stinky. Lycanroc, he won the league for Ash. He deserves it. Mudkip, I heard you like them. He could be like Squirtle if they ever wanted to do like a Pokemon trainer for Gen 3. Blaziken, they have 3 fire stars. It'd be a little ridiculous when they have the sensors. Cock! I went a little overboard, didn't I? Though at the end of the day, I'm sure you could talk for hours about what Pokemon could be in Smash, and honestly, that's part of the reason why I'd like the Pokken series to continue, as it feels like a good secondary series for Pokemon fans to get their character in. Like, if we could just make an entire 60-character roster out of these guys, but that would take us forever. I'm sure everyone watching this has thought a little bit about how their favorite Pokemon would fight in Smash or any sort of fighting game. I figured that these would be good ones to discuss as they close the gaps between generations that they currently have. Though I don't really think they will happen, it'd be awesome if they joined the battle alongside a fully fledged Gen 8 Pokemon. Again, that's why I figured they would be low-effort characters, as I'm effectively asking for bonuses. I know for a fact that people have thought of some crazy movesets for Pokemon. There's one out there that's for Nidorina. Yes, that's real. So let me know what your favorite Mon is, so let me know how they would play in a Smash Bros. Game. After all, anyone can dream.
Probably tell this video was a little late. I mean, you know, only by like a month or something. I'm sorry about that. Work kind of got in the way, and I'm lazy. But hopefully I will be doing at least one more kind of smaller video later this year, before the end of the year, guaranteed. And next year we're going to be doing a number of things. A lot more Smash Bros, along with some other franchises that hopefully you'll like. Anytime I try something new, nobody watches it but me. Maybe this time. Oh my god. Leak gameplay of Zacian in new form! You're supposed to catch that, but okay.